Hey guys, Jade Average GH22 here, Josh Taylor, and today I'm going to be presenting to you a crazy story. Now, I really don't think it matters that I'm sharing this on the internet because the person who was part of this crazy story that committed a crime will never be caught. I guarantee that. I'm not looking the best right now, so I do apologize. It's about 1:30 a.m. I worked until 10 p.m. and I just did a Funko Pop review about an hour ago that I uploaded. But I rock Nerdy Locks, and Luna and a couple other people that I'm subscribed to have been doing videos about their personal lives where crazy things have happened to them. So I don't mean to copy them by any means, but here's a crazy story that I thought people might enjoy, or I guess get some surprise out of, or something like that. So basically, I've been together with my partner Mark for going on 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in September. And when we first got together, of course, I'm 24 now. I was 20 at the time. I didn't really have a means of transportation yet until a month later after this event happened. Mark did not either. We were just going through different times in our life, and we were just trying to uh, see what we could do to improve our situation, I guess. Me being a college student and being broke all the time, etc., and him just having some bad things happen, resulting in whatever, to where he did not have a vehicle. Now, Mark obviously has a lot of nice things. Everybody's seen our apartment before, so Mark loves the antiques and fancy things like that, and I enjoy them too. I just don't have the means of getting them right now, and because um, he's had more time to do that, his parents used to own an antique store and such. He's been able to collect quite a few beautiful things over the years, and we love our house. So basically, long story short, to start it out, that is, we were trying to get a vehicle so that way we wouldn't have to ride our bikes across town to get groceries or anything like that. Um, Mark had an antique art deco ring, they call it, that his mother had given him before she passed away. Now, keep in mind, this is a fancy ring, it's very old. It was worth about $6,000 when it was appraised, and a little more than that actually, but we kind of lowered the price so as to attract people to purchase it. Well, I didn't know much about Craigslist, and neither did he. Of course, I'm the techie guy out of the two of us. I knew that you could sell a lot of stuff on there. I knew most people were successful. Most of the time it was okay, etc. However, I did not really have clear mind in sight, and we basically posted this really expensive ring to try and sell it so that way we could get a vehicle and improve our lifestyle. And so we didn't get any bites on it, and I almost took it off the posting online. And then we finally got somebody who seemed interested in it. And well, we emailed back and forth. I did with him. Seemed to hold himself well, seemed to be a nice guy. Um, I suggested that we meet in a public place. This happened to be the McDonald's in Brighton, Michigan, right off of the expressway 96. I believe it's 96. It could be a different one, but either way, in Brighton, right off the expressway. Brighton in Michigan is kind of like the cutoff point, I guess, or somewhat anyway, because once you get to Brighton and a little there beyond, you get to Detroit. And Detroit, Michigan, as a lot of you know that don't even live in Michigan, is one of the best and worst cities that you can think of. There's a lot of good things there. There's a lot of good things going on, a lot of good people, a lot of good parts of Detroit, lots of rich folks. And then there's the bad parts because we've basically suffered in this state from going from a very nice, supportive automotive industry where people can make money for their families and support them and then be able to retire, to okay, there's no work available anymore. So basically, there's still work available and such, but it's not the way it used to be. And as a result of that, certain parts of Detroit, Michigan are very ghetto. And I don't mean ghetto as in talking trash about lower class people. I'm saying that there's a lot of crime that goes on. There's a lot of crime that gets that people get away with and it's unreported. There's a lot of arson that goes on there because the police have so much to deal with that they really have to decide what's really worth going after. So there's a lot of stuff that people get away with that they really shouldn't. And we were trying to sell this ring here. I'm trying not to make this a long story. I'm sorry. I've had a couple beers because I it is still something that's very clear in my memory. It's very disturbing to me because I've never had anything like this happen before. Neither had my boyfriend Mark. And the rules of Craigslist basically are that you meet in a public place, so that way, if somebody is having a bad motive in mind when they meet you to buy something, at least there will be other people around and maybe something bad won't happen. Well, we met at this Brighton McDonald's to have him check out the ring, and when we had called back and forth on the phone to communicate about a time to meet, where to meet, etc., I was trying my best to keep an open mind. I am not racist by any means. I have several friends that are of different races other than mine. I don't believe that Caucasian people are better than everyone else. So, excuse me, I don't want anyone to misunderstand the point of this video. Uh, I'm just telling you about something scary that happened to us. Uh, However, when you're talking about Detroit, you have people who are white who commit crimes, you have people who are black who commit crimes, you have people of other ethnicities that commit crimes. So it's not the fact that this person was black. So I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I am not racist by any means. This is just part of the story. So, as everyone knows, Lil Wayne is a little ghetto. He's a great guy, but he's a little ghetto. I like Lil Wayne myself a little bit, so I can't judge too much. But basically, when I tried to call this dude to set up a place to meet, he had a Lil Wayne ringback on his phone, which means when you call it, like a Lil Wayne song was on. And I don't know how it works in other places. I'm sure it's fairly similar, but usually people don't pay to get a ringback on their phone because it costs extra. And if you do pay for it, it's usually kind of a more mainstream song. But this dude had like the most ghetto rap song he could get. And I love rap, don't get me wrong, but it was very, very ghetto. And so I was like, okay, whatever. I'm sure he's still a nice guy. He seems to be legit. He talks nicely, whatever. And I basically never actually talked to the dude with my voice and his voice and vice versa. And I was like, okay, here's a red flag. He has a Lil Wayne ringback. So some may consider that racist. I do not. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm not going to judge him for Lil Wayne. I like Lil Wayne myself. And basically, Mark and I met him at the McDonald's, and he walked in, seemed like a nice guy, was very friendly, was African American. That doesn't matter, but sometimes in Detroit, there are certain people that act more ghetto than others. So I'm only mentioning that to provide full details. Um, he actually, I'm gay, yes, so I noticed these details. He actually had True Religion jeans on, which are about $300 jeans. I've had a pair one time before I got rid of them, and they're very, very expensive jeans that usually you can purchase at Macy's and other places like that. Now, so I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, you don't see True Religion jeans every day on a guy. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. That's cool. He's got nice style, I guess. And so we sat in the middle of the McDonald's restaurant, and he talked to us about the ring and this and that, and how he was going to have to do a scratch test in the bathroom just to make sure that it was real. Well, what he was saying was that a scratch test, he would have to scratch it, and if it turned out a certain way when he ran it under the water, it was real or fake. So he was acting like he was trying to determine if it was real or fake. Keep in mind, when we were sitting at the table, his fingernails were really long. Like, okay, I try to keep my fingernails short, so these are my fingernails. His were out to like, I don't know, they were like really long. They were out like this much, I guess. So they were like kind of lengths of chick fingernails or whatever. And of course, there was dirt encrusted underneath every single fingernail. And I don't mean to be judgmental, but that kind of was like, okay, well, wow, I guess this dude just never washes his hands or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying my best not to be judgmental here. But here's red flag number two. He's just not kept up very well. So we go in the bathroom hoping that this thing works out. He does the scratch test. He's like, okay, yeah, it's legitimate, it's real. And we start walking out of the bathroom. Well, Mark is like, okay, can I have that ring back, please? Mark, my boyfriend. And the dude just kind of like shrugged it off or whatever, just kind of kept walking out of the restroom. And I guess Mark was so shocked and he kind of just knew what was going to happen. So he was like, this dude's going to rob me. This dude's going to rob us. And I was like, well, why would you announce that if we were actually going to be robbed? Like, wouldn't that encourage him more? Like, I didn't say that, but I was thinking it in my head. And of course, neither of us had been to this particular McDonald's before. Most McDonald's only have like two entrances to the lobby portion. This one had three. There was the main entrance, there was the side entrance by the drive-through, and for whatever reason, there was a back entrance near the bathrooms. And I have never seen a McDonald's like that personally, and it kind of threw me off. So obviously, this dude knew what he was doing. And as soon as Mark said that, I was like shocked for a second because I hadn't really thought about it, being the naive person I am, hoping that people are actually good. And as soon as Mark said that, the dude just booked it and he went out that exit that was right near the restroom. And I was like, what the F? Like, I wore my Heelys that day, which, if you don't know, are shoes that have a wheel in the bottom so you can skate. I was like, hey, Mark, I'm going to wear my Heelys. That way, if anyone does try anything funny, I can really quickly skate and catch up to them. Well, guess what? As soon as I bolt out the door after this dude, the parking lot is shit. There's potholes all over the place. It's not really smooth pavement. It's the style where they use rocks with the black asphalt, so it's not like true smooth pavement. And even if I had tried to be prepared like I was, my Heelys wouldn't make a difference because if you know Heelys, the wheel is like this big, and if you hit a crack or a pothole or a rock or anything, like science tells you, you're gonna fall. And they were basically useless. So basically, I was running after him as if I had high heels because, again, if you know Heelys, they're flat and then the back wheel goes out like an inch or half an inch at the back of the shoe. So it's like you're wearing high heels. And I was trying to run after this dude, trying to catch him as fast as I could. Like, I sprinted so hard, it's not even funny. And I just could not catch up to the little fucker, excuse my language. And of course, he ran out of the McDonald's parking lot, and this was next to a bunch of other businesses. And then there was like an alley in between two stores. And what do you know? There's a getaway man waiting for him. So he books it. I'm like 5 feet from him, not very far from the van at all. He books it, hops in the van, and they just take off. And I'm like so shocked by this point that I'm like, what just happened within this last 20 seconds? And so I was just like, wow, well, this is crazy. I'm really mad. We just lost a ring that really could have changed our lives. And then, I didn't even think about the fact that he could have had a knife. He could have had a gun. He could have really hurt me, even being a little guy. Like, I was really a lot taller than him and such. But that doesn't matter if you have a weapon on you. And because there are so many crimes near that area, people don't hesitate. Like, they'll shoot you in a second over nothing. And pretty much I was really lucky that I did not get hurt that day or killed. And it was just so, I was so mad yet freaked yet just stunned at the same time. And of course, Mark called the cops as soon as that happened. He was telling me not to chase him down. I did anyway because that's just what I do. Like, if you fuck with me, I'm going to fuck with you. Or at least try to get my shit back that you so wrongfully stole. And basically, I don't know. The cop thought it was a joke because they have so many cases of people doing stuff like this that it really wasn't even worth calling the cops. But we did anyway to do the right thing. And he questioned us and this and that, and he wasn't even taking us seriously the whole time. He literally smiled as he was asking us stuff. I guess he was smiling because of how naive we were. I really don't know, but I just know that I didn't appreciate it considering I pay tax dollars and this cop wasn't even acting like it was a big deal. So even if it's something that happens all the time, you should at least be compassionate to a victim of a crime that called you to have you help them. So this guy was just like thinking it was a whole joke and everything, and I had Mark answer the questions because I was too pissed off to even respond respectfully to the police officer. So he was like, "Okay, we're gonna check the cameras with the McDonald's managers, and hopefully we'll be able to find something." Sure enough, the McDonald's cameras were so shitty. Like, we're not even talking like half high definition. We're talking like just footage that goes and doesn't show the smooth movements of someone walking. So, of course, the McDonald's couldn't get his face clearly, even though he was in the middle of the restaurant and everything else. So that tells me that most McDonald's don't have really good cameras, just so you know. Sorry for the clock. Um, but yeah, and basically after that, we just had to go home to Lansing, and keep in mind this was like almost an hour drive away for us to be potentially changing our lives and hopefully getting a car from this money. And we got robbed. And we never heard anything about it ever again. So it happens so often that they considered it like a joke case, and I can understand that because there's murders and stuff like that going on, but still, this is like a big robbery here. This is like some Grand Theft Auto fucking bullshit. Excuse my language. Like, that's like a little mini heist. It had to be planned. They had a getaway vehicle. He made it sound like he was legitimate. I mean, I was just really shook up about it for like a week or two after that, at least. And it's still, every now and again, I think about it and it haunts me to this day. And I thank the Lord that I actually didn't get hurt or killed during this process. And so does Mark. I don't know how many times he said, "I'm so happy you're okay." But it was still really upsetting to us because we were trying to do something to change our lives, and here this dude rips us off, literally steals from us, and then probably just sold it to a pawn shop so he couldn't be traced. And this was, let's see, this was in 2011, so that was 4 years ago almost now. But I figured it would be a crazy story to tell, and if you like crazy stories, let me know. Give me a like, give me a comment. Of course, favorite, share, subscribe, please, if you can. If not, that's okay. Uh, Please tell me what you thought of this video. If you'd like to hear more of my crazy personal stories that the internet really shouldn't be hearing, but probably will anyway, please let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. If it's not your style, that's cool. But thank you guys for watching. This was a very big